I stood on the wraparound porch of the mountain chalet, my breath visible in the crisp alpine air as the sun sank behind the jagged peaks, casting a golden glow over the valley below. Pine trees whispered in the breeze, their scent mingling with the faint smoke from the stone chimney behind me. Inside, my family, my sons Raphael and Diego, their wives Monica and Anna, my beloved grandchildren, clinked glasses and laughed, their voices echoing through the open windows. They thought I was out here savoring the view, perhaps lost in memories of Arthur, whose 40th wedding anniversary we were supposedly celebrating this long weekend. But they didn't know I'd overheard their hushed conversation in the chalet's library earlier that day, plotting to siphon my inheritance. They didn't know about the months I'd spent scraping together every penny to fund this retreat, nor the cherished keepsakes I'd sold to make it happen. And they most certainly didn't know the reckoning I was about to unleash. To understand how I, Estella Williams, a widow of 4 years, found myself standing on this porch with a heart heavy yet resolute, we must go back 6 weeks to a quiet September morning in my modest home in Pine Hollow, a small town nestled at the foot of these very mountains. The kitchen smelled of cinnamon and nutmeg from the muffins I was baking for the Saturday market, a ritual that kept me afloat since Arthur's passing. My hands, dusted with flour, moved rhythmically, kneading dough as the morning light filtered through lace curtains, casting delicate shadows on the worn linoleum floor. The radio hummed softly, playing old jazz tunes Arthur loved. When the phone rang, its trill sharp and insistent. Raphael's name flashed on the screen, my eldest son, whose velvet voice could charm the stars from the sky. "Mom, I've been thinking," he began, his tone warm and conspiratorial, like he was letting me in on a grand secret. "It's been too long since we've all been together, really together. Your 40th anniversary with Dad is coming up. What if we celebrate with a family retreat?" I found this incredible chalet in the mountains. Fireplaces, hot tubs, hiking trails, space for all 12 of us. Picture it, me, Monica, Diego, Anna, the grandkids, and you honoring Dad's memory. It'll be like the old days, Mom, when we'd camp by the lake and tell stories. My heart fluttered like the golden leaves outside my window, trembling in the autumn breeze. Family gatherings had dwindled to rushed holiday meals where I served and cleaned, a silent figure in the background while they discussed their bustling lives. Raphael's real estate ventures flipping luxury condos, Diego's tech startup chasing venture capital, Monica's boutique selling overpriced decor, Anna's school projects shaping young minds. I was the widow who listened, who refilled coffee cups, who retreated to the kitchen while they laughed in the living room. The idea of a retreat, of being included, felt like a warm blanket after years of standing in the cold. "Raphael, that sounds like a dream," I said, my voice thick with emotion, catching on the edges of hope. "But those places aren't cheap. How would we manage?" "Don't worry about the cost," he assured me, his words smooth as polished wood. "We'll pitch in after. The chalet needs one person to book it, though, some policy about group reservations. Could you handle it?" "It's for Dad, Mom. For you." It was always this way. I was the one to sign, to organize, to trust. My name on leases, loans, and plans while they reaped the rewards. But this felt different, like a gift wrapped in nostalgia, a chance to knit our unraveling family back together. "Of course, son," I replied, setting my rolling pin down, flour dusting the counter like snow. "I'll make it happen." That afternoon, I called Mountain Haven Retreats, my fingers trembling as I dialed. The manager, Clara, answered with infectious enthusiasm, her voice painting a vivid picture of the chalet, a 3-story timber lodge with vaulted ceilings, a grand stone fireplace, 5 private suites with plush bedding, a game room with a pool table, and floor-to-ceiling windows framing snow-dusted peaks. The grounds boasted hiking trails, a hot tub steaming under the stars, and a meadow perfect for stargazing. For 12 people, 4 nights, all-inclusive with catered meals and guided activities. $4,500 total, Mrs. Williams. We need a 50% deposit, $2,250, to secure it. The number hit me like a gust of mountain wind, stealing my breath. My pension was $780 a month, barely covering utilities and groceries. My market sales, muffins, jams, and the occasional quilt, added $300 on good weeks, but I'd saved only $1,100 over months of careful scrimping. It wasn't enough. I sat at the dining table that night, the wood worn smooth by years of family meals, staring at Arthur's violin case in the corner. He'd played it at our wedding 40 years ago, its notes sweet and mournful under a starlit sky, his fingers coaxing love from the strings. It was one of the last pieces of him I had, its polished spruce gleaming like a memory. The next morning, I drove to Harmony Antiques, the shop's bell jingling as I stepped into a world of dusty clocks and faded paintings. Mr. Carver, a kind man with a collector's eye, greeted me. "Estella, good to see you." I opened the case, the violin's varnish catching the light. "I need to know what it's worth." He examined it, his fingers tracing the engraved initials. AJW, Arthur James Williams. "This is a fine instrument, Estella. Early 20th century craftsmanship. I can offer $1,400. It felt like betraying Arthur, like severing a string that tied me to our past. But I saw my grandkids' faces, Thomas's gap-toothed grin, Sophia's curls bouncing, Mariana's quiet sketches, imagined us gathered by a fire, sharing Arthur's stories. "It's a deal," I said, my voice barely a whisper. With the violin's sale and my savings, I wired the deposit that evening, my name on the contract, my credit card as guarantee. Over the next weeks, I doubled my baking, waking at 4 a.m. to knead dough by lamplight, my hands floured and aching. I skipped coffee with friends to save on gas, turned off the heater until the house grew chilly, ate oatmeal instead of meat. My body protested, knees creaking, fingers stiff, but my spirit soared at the thought of the retreat. Raphael and Diego called for details, trail maps, meal plans, but money was brushed off. "We'll sort it at the chalet, Mom," Diego said, his voice distracted. "Focus on the memories." 3 days before the trip, Anna called, her tone bright as a summer meadow. "Estella, the kids are so excited. Mariana's bringing her sketchbook to draw the mountains. Thomas wants to build a snowman. Is everything set?" "Final payments due on arrival," I said, my fingers sore from hemming a neighbor's drapes for extra cash. $250. "Great, we'll handle it there," she chirped. "This is going to be epic." The night before, I paid the balance online, charging $2,250 more, maxing my card and dipping into the emergency fund I'd kept for unexpected repairs. My account balance blinked red, but it was worth it. 4 days to honor Arthur, to feel like a family again. The morning of the retreat dawned crisp and clear, the sky a brilliant blue over Pine Hollow. I rose at dawn, packing my suitcase with care, warm sweaters for cool evenings, Arthur's favorite flannel scarf to wrap around my neck, a box of homemade ginger cookies for the grandkids, and a photo album of our early years to share Arthur's stories. Raphael arrived at 7:30 a.m. in his sleek SUV, Monica in the passenger seat scrolling her phone, Thomas and Sophia giggling over a tablet game in the back. Diego's family, Anna, Mariana, and the younger kids, would meet us there, driving separately. The 3-hour drive wound through valleys, the air growing sharper as we climbed, pine forests stretching endlessly. I tried to chat about Raphael's latest property flip, Monica's boutique sales, but responses were clipped. Monica laughed at her phone. "What's so funny?" I asked, hoping to join in. "Just my design group," she said, barely glancing up. "Industry stuff you wouldn't get." I fell silent, watching the landscape blur past, the trees standing tall like sentinels. We arrived at noon, and the chalet stole my breath. Its cedar beams soared to a skylight, the grand fireplace crackled with pine logs, and windows framed peaks dusted with early snow. The air smelled of wood smoke and possibility, the meadow outside dotted with wildflowers fading into autumn hues. 5 suites lined the upper floors, each with plush bedding and private balconies, while a game room and hot tub beckoned downstairs. "Mrs. Williams, welcome," Clara greeted, her smile warm as she handed me 5 key cards. "Everything's ready, catered dinners, guided hikes, hot tubs. Enjoy honoring your husband's anniversary." As we unpacked, I overheard Raphael murmur to Diego by the fireplace, their voices low but clear in the quiet lodge. "Once she signs the trust over, we're set. That funds our lifeline, my condos are tanking, and your app needs cash." A chill crept in, unrelated to the mountain air. I brushed it off, focusing on the kids. Thomas tuckt my Hand, heies Eis bricht. "Grandma, can we roast marshmallows tonight?" "Of course, sweetheart," I said, ruffling his hair. "We'll make it special." The first day unfolded like a postcard. We hiked a trail lined with crimson maples, leaves crunching underfoot, the kids chasing each other through the woods. I pointed out Arthur's favorite birds, a red-tailed hawk soaring, a chickadee flitting, sharing stories of his love for these mountains. The grandkids listened, wide-eyed, but the adults lagged behind, distracted by phones. At dinner, roast beef, rosemary potatoes, apple pie, the table buzzed with plans for sledding, hot tubs, and stargazing, but no one asked my input. "You rest, Mom," Monica said, her smile tight as piano wire. "We'll handle the fun." That night, I slept in my suite, a cozy room with a quilted bed, a window framing the moonlit peaks, and Arthur's scarf draped over the chair. I dreamed of him playing his violin, the notes weaving through the pines. The next morning, over pancakes and coffee in the dining room, the kids chattered about snow, but the adults seemed preoccupied, exchanging glances. Mariana lingered as the others headed for sledding, her face troubled. "Grandma, I need to show you something," she whispered, pulling me to the library, its shelves heavy with leather-bound books, the air thick with the scent of old paper. She opened her phone, revealing an email thread labeled Family Fund. My stomach dropped as I read. "Raphael, Mom's paying for the chalet, perfect chance to pitch the trust. Arthur's fund could bankroll my next deal and your app, Diego." Diego, yeah, call it securing the grandkids' future. She'll eat it up, sentimental as she is. Monica, about time we got that money. She's just sitting on it in that crumbling house, baking for pennies. Anna, I feel guilty but we're desperate. The school's cutting my hours, and we need this. The trust, Arthur's life insurance and savings, $60,000 meant for my security, was their target. They planned a family meeting tomorrow to pressure me into signing it over as an investment in our future. Messages detailed their script. Raphael would play nostalgic, Diego practical, Monica flattering, Anna emotional. They'd even discussed selling my house post-transfer, splitting the profits.
My vision blueret vis tears, the words swimming on the screen. $4,500 Arthurs Violin, my aching hands, all for this?
A calculated betrayal masked as celebration? Mariana's eyes welled. "I confronted them last night," she said. "They added me to the thread by mistake, thinking I'd agree. I said it's wrong, but they told me it's for the family, and I don't understand adult choices." I hugged her tightly, her warmth grounding me as anger kindled in my chest. "Thank you, Mariana.
You will given me the truth.
Now we'll make this right." While the family sled, their laughter drifting through the frosted windows, I retreated to my suite, the pine walls muffling my voice as I made calls.
First, the bank. I'm Estella Williams.
I need to flag my trust account for potential coercion. No changes without notarized consent in person. The representative noted the concern, promising heightened scrutiny. Second, I called Clara at the front desk. "I'm the sole booker of this retreat. I need you to document that no changes to the reservation, rooms, services, anything, can be made without my direct approval. And I may need to modify the booking soon." "Of course, Mrs. Williams," Clara said, her voice steady. "I'll send written confirmation and alert the staff."
Anything else? I'll need a notary tomorrow morning and a meeting with you.
8 a.m. Done. Third, I dialed Mr. Jenkins, our family lawyer since Arthur's will. "Estella, what's wrong?" he asked, sensing my tone. I poured out the story, the chalet, the emails, the trust. His voice hardened. "This is elder financial abuse, Estella. Using deceit to access your assets is illegal. I'll draft protective documents, asset locks, a revised will if you want. You could sue for fraud or emotional distress. Want to meet when you're back?" "Yes, and send me a sworn statement template to notarize here, confirming I paid voluntarily but am aware of coercion attempts." "On its way. Be careful." That evening, I joined the bonfire in the meadow, the flames crackling, marshmallows toasting to golden perfection. The kids laughed, their faces glowing, oblivious to the adults' tension. Raphael raised a glass of mulled wine. "To Mom and Dad's 40 years. Tomorrow, let's talk legacy, securing our family's future." I nodded, My smile a carefully crafted mask. Sounds good, son. Day 3 dawned gray, clouds heavy with the promise of snow. The family planned their meeting after lunch in the library, the perfect stage for their deception. Mariana texted updates. They're rehearsing. Raphael says legacy, Diego security, Monica's praising your generosity. At 2 p.m. we gathered, the library's oak table gleaming under a chandelier, the air thick with coffee and unspoken motives. Diego slid a folder across to me. Mom, this trust transfer ensures the grandkids' future. Our businesses, Raphael's condos, my app, need investment to grow, to leave something for Thomas, Sophia, all of them. Raphael leaned in, his eyes soft. Dad would want this, Mom. You've always been the heart of this family. Monica smiled, too sweet. You're so generous, Estella. This is your legacy. Anna fidgeted, her voice shaky. It's for stability, for all of us. I opened the folder, scanning the document that would sign over Arthur's $60,000 trust to their control, with vague promises of family returns. Then I set it down and pulled out Mariana's phone, the email thread open. Is this what you mean by legacy, Raphael? Get that money from my crumbling house? Or you, Monica, calling my baking pennies? Diego, planning to sell my home? Anna, feeling guilty but going along. Faces froze, eyes wide like deer in headlights. Raphael stammered, Mom, that's not. I held up a hand. Don't. I have every email. You planned this the day you called, Raphael. A family retreat, to con me out of my security. Monica's eyes flashed. You're twisting it. We're struggling. Your money could help. Mariana stood, voice trembling but firm. No, you lied to her. Grandma sold Dad's violin for this trip. She gave everything, and you mocked her. Anna teared up. Estella, we didn't mean. You meant every word I said, my voice steady as the mountains outside. You leave tomorrow. I've cancelled your suites, 301, 302, 304, 305. Mariana stays with me in 303. This is my retreat now. Diego protested, you can't. The kids. The kids will learn their parents' choices have consequences. Clara, summoned earlier, entered. Mrs. Williams controls the reservation. Your key cards deactivate at 10 a.m. tomorrow. Staff will assist with packing. Raphael pleaded, Mom, we're family. I looked at him, seeing the boy I'd raised now cloaked in greed. Family doesn't betray. That night, they argued among themselves, voices carrying through the chalet's walls. Mariana stayed with me, sketching by the fire as I sipped chamomile tea. Are you okay, Grandma? I will be, I said, stroking her hair.
You gave ml courage.
At 8 a.m., I met Clara and a notary in her office, signing Mr. Jenkins's statement affirming my voluntary payment and awareness of coercion.
Clara handed ml a letter confirming my sole authority. You're a strong woman, Mrs. Williams.
It's new to me, I admitted, but it felt right. By 10 a.m., their key cards failed. By 11, staff escorted them to pack.
Raphael knocked, desperate. Mom, let's talk.
I opened the door, facing him, Diego, Monica, Anna, the grandkids confused in the hall. You talked enough in your emails.
Monica snapped, You're ruining everything.
No, I said, calm as the meadow outside. You did. They left at noon, suitcases rolling down the gravel path, faces a mix of anger and shame. Mariana and I stayed, hiking trails, sketching peaks, sharing stories of Arthur, his violin, his laugh. The chalet became our haven, the mountains witnesses to my rebirth. Back home, I met Mr. Jenkins, revising my will to favor Mariana and local charities, a library fund in Arthur's name. Calls came, Raphael's apologies, Diego's excuses, Monica's accusations. I listened but held firm, my boundaries a new strength. The chalet lingered in my memory, its pines whispering of freedom. I returned alone months later, standing on that porch, feeling Arthur's presence in the wind. Family isn't obligation, it's respect. And I had finally claimed mine. Did you like my story, and which city are you listening from? Let's meet in the comments. If you like the story, you can support me by sending a super thanks so I can keep bringing more stories like this. Thank you so much for your sweet support. I'm looking forward to your comments on the story. On the screen, you can see 2 new life stories that I highly recommend. There's so much more on my channel. Don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next life story with love and respect.